It is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, and intern Sawyer along for the ride as well. Listen, we got a lot of good stuff to get to. We like to have a ton of fun on this show, show the great sides of baseball. And unfortunately, the baseball world, the world in general, hurting a little bit based on what happened in the Dominican Republic with that tragedy at the nightclub with its roof caving in, and it claimed the lives of a couple of former major leaguers. Octavio Dotel, who pitched for 13 different teams in the show, won a ring with the Cardinals back in 2011, passed away, as too did Tony Blanco, who appeared in, I believe, 56 games with the Washington Nationals in their inaugural season in our nation's capital. Listen, baseball is kind of the fabric of what runs through the Dominican Republic, and there are so many stars that come from that place. And every time I read more and more about the story, it just makes me sad. And we definitely want to remember those two and everybody else and the families who are grieving today.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's lost someone close to them understands kind of what a lot of people are going through in the Dominican right now. I believe it was 113 people so far that they've confirmed we've lost. You're right about the Dominican and what baseball means, and these players in particular. Also, Nelson Cruz's sister was another person, baseball adjacent, that was there, and I believe she's passed as well. My takeaway here, Chris, is we've talked about this before. I think you and I are on the same page. If you're thinking about somebody, like, send them the text or give them a call, because something like this could happen. You might never get that chance again. So for me, that really hit home when my grandparents passed away on my dad's side. I was very close to them, and I basically grew up at their house. And I felt after they passed, like, man, I probably should have called more. I did. We spoke quite a bit, but that was like I just felt that regret. So don't let that happen to you. If you're feeling like you want to talk, or just someone pops up in your head randomly, shoot them a text. I don't know, man. We all need that.
So once again, we're thinking about a lot of good people there in the Dominican Republic, and obviously because of the extension of what happens here in the baseball world, I'm sure there are a lot of major league players that are, feeling the effects of what transpired back in their homeland today. So we send our thoughts. The Detroit Tigers, they have won 5 in a row. The reigning AL Cy Young Award winner, he was back at it again on Tuesday, quieting the Yankees' bats.
Strike 3, a buzzsaw high fastball, and Scoob's got that walk right now.
I mean, location, up and away, perfect. That arm back, down, and around. And when he throws that up there, that is going to be really tough to catch up to for a left-handed hitter.
98 right by Trent Grisham.
I know that Scooble wasn't exactly where he wanted to be the first few starts of the year. That was Tarek Skubal.
He's going to be okay. And I feel like he kind of always has that walk. I don't know, man. Maybe it's more pronounced. It was yesterday. But, yeah, he's the guy, man.
He's filthy. He's also the guest on the latest episode of Dugout Discussions with Chris Rose. So go check it out. He was a lot of fun. Kind of let us into his world, where he's been, where he's going. Good stuff. Big question here is, does it feel like Detroit is truly the favorite in this division?
I mean, if we're basing it off of what's happened so far, yes. Do I think that Kansas City might get it going offensively a little bit more? Sure. Do I think the Twins, they've just played absolutely terrible baseball all around. Do I think they'll turn some things around? Yes. You can speak on your guards. But if we're talking about what we've seen so far in the season, yeah, they feel like the favorite. We're talking about, 3 to 4 really quality starting pitchers they've got right now. Casey Mize looks really good. Obviously, Scoobs is going to be the guy. Flaherty's look good. And that's before mentioning Jackson Jobe and, kind of the upside that he has. But their offense has been going off. Some swing adjustments for Torkelson. He looks like a guy now. Because of Glaber getting hurt, he's playing first base and kind of got his role back. Things seem to be really going his way. And that's kind of what we talked about with this team was, what can we do offensively? And if we have guys like Torque doing what he's doing, that obviously helps out a bunch. Right now, team 809 OPS is third in baseball. No other Central team has an OPS above 18th. That's where your Guardians are. And then the Twins and White Sox are next to last down there. So if we're talking about what's going on so far, and I feel like the numbers kind of speak for themselves. Detroit looks like the favorite right now.
I had them winning the division at the beginning of the year. I also had them winning it last year, just so I could get that on the record. Whiffed on that, but they did make that great run over the last 2.5 months to make the postseason. I like them as a team, and I think they're a team that's only going to get significantly better based on the guys that they have kind of on layaway because of injury right now. The big one to me is Parker Meadows, a guy who was, you could make an argument that he was their best everyday ball player down the stretch next to Riley Green last season. They don't know when he's going to come back, and that's the one injury I would circle to say, boy, either Detroit's going to have to add something in the outfield via a trade, or if he comes back, he can be a difference maker and push them to another level. But Matt Vierling, who is kind of their Swiss Army knife who can do everything, is still injured. Rogers just went on the injured list, so that's going to screw up their catching a little bit. Although Dingler did go deep yesterday and handled
He's been great.
Yeah, and handled Skubal great for catching him for the first time at the major league level. I think it was the first time since 2023 that somebody other than Rogers was behind the plate when Skubal threw. So that'll be an adjustment. Worked out just fine on Tuesday. Glaber has obviously been dinged up here in the early going. Alex Cobb is a guy that they signed for $15 million that they expect to get something out of. So it just feels like the Tigers are playing good baseball, but they also have more to give. In the meantime, some of these other teams, I think with the exception of Kansas City, Cleveland's searching for it. Minnesota has been horrible, and Chicago is not even a factor in this discussion. So I do think the Tigers are far and away the best team here.
Yeah, I put the Twins winning the division. I think I had Kansas City sneaking in a wild card and Detroit missing the playoffs this year. I believe that's what I had. I could have swapped the Tigers and the Royals. I'm not really sure what I did there, but they proved me wrong last year. That's for dang sure. They're probably going to do it again this year.
Yeah, and when you have Skubal to start off a playoff series, if you get there, man, matching up with him is a pain in the ass. He is so good. He is so good and such an ascending player. They have won 7 of 8 in the recent going. Let's move on. The San Diego Padres have lost more than just a game on Tuesday. Hours after putting Jackson Merrill on the injured list with a bad hammy, they lost 2 more players in their loss to the Athletics. Fernando Tatis, remember he had that shoulder surgically repaired a few years ago. There was a little bit of an issue on a swing, stayed in the game, re-aggravated it sliding. He's out. He's day-to-day is what he's saying. And then Jake Cronenworth, who got hit by a pitch in the ribs in Chicago when it was freezing out there, aggravated something on a swing. He said it's just a rib cramp. It sounds like they're both going to get Wednesday off. They've got Thursday off as a team, and they feel like they'll be back in action on Friday. But if you're a Padres fan, what is your level of concern right now?
Oh, man, I think we got to wait for more news. If I'm a Padres fan, that's what I'm doing. I'm pretty concerned about both, just because you mentioned like Tatis in the shoulder. That's been a thing, and we know once you start to dislocate that shoulder, it comes out more and more. And I know he's had it repaired, but that freaks me out a little bit because we've seen a lot of guys get zapped of their ability with those shoulder issues. And then Cronenworth, it looks like, did they confirm that he doesn't have a broken rib? Because
at this point, yeah, he said it was a rib cramp, which I haven't.
I've done this before. I got hit in the ribs. I played for the next 3 days. It hurt, but then it loosened up. And then what they say is the fluid surrounding where the break is dissipates, and all of a sudden, then you're going to start feeling the pain. I'm hoping that's not the case, because it could be an intercostal strain, but like sometimes you got to go in and get an MRI to see if there actually is a little fracture in there. And I'm still not super worried if I'm a Padres fan, because we don't know the extent, but these things the shoulder can linger, and that rib can be really tough because once anything to your core, man, becomes very hard to come back from. So I would say that paired with, I don't know if it was just the Sacramento A's Sutter Field getting to cease last night, but that was a tough start for him. So, if you're watching that game just last night and you see Cease get banged around. The A's come up there swinging on every freaking first pitch and just getting hits at will. They batted around in the first inning. If you see that, and you see Cronenworth leave, and Tatis leave, and you see Merrill on the IL, obviously I think you're panicking. But I guess I would wait just a little bit. But my panic meter from a scale of 1 to 10 is like a 6 to 7 right now.
Mm-hmm. That's where it would be if I was a Padres fan, just based on our depth situation. Because Merrill's going on the injured list, or he's already there now. They don't think it's going to be a long stay, but hamstrings, we all know, can be a little tricky. The thing with Tatis, this is the first time since his surgery, I believe, where he's had an issue. So I think it's just something to monitor more than anything else. Their bench is old. It's just old. Jay Hay, Iglesias, both 35. Yuli Gurriel is 40. They've got Lockridge in the outfield. They brought up Oscar Gonzalez. Those guys are more bit players than anything else. So if you're without a guy for a significant amount of time, this is where the Padres, when you look at their roster construction, you go, gosh, that's when you talk about the Dodgers, for instance, they have so much depth that they can just roll people out when they don't have other dudes available. I mean, that's the strength of paying what they're paying. And the Padres, in the time where they have cut payroll, you got to get through a season pretty healthy, because you don't want those guys playing every day at that age. I don't think.
I actually like their bench if everyone's healthy.
That's the thing.
Thrust
yes.
into a starting role, then it becomes a little bit different. Like, for instance, we don't want Jose Iglesias in left field. Like, although he was fine out there. I think he had like 5 balls hit to him in the first inning of the first time he's ever played outfield. Can you imagine, dude?
By the way, what is the deal with major league teams thinking it's just okay to throw lifelong infielders into the outfield? We saw it with Sosa last night with the Phillies. He made the catch on Ozuna over the fence, but then he and Rojas miscommunicated. That led to a big inning for the Braves. We saw Mateo over the weekend with the Orioles. They're putting him in center field. What are we doing?
Because don't get me started on this, dude. Don't get me started. I'm going to start talking about computers and all that stuff. Like, it's not that easy just to go out there. And like, you might say, oh, we're going for offense, or, it's maybe we can hide him out there. Like, you can't hide in baseball. We saw that. Like, the ball will find you. I'm completely against it. I don't like it. There's only a few guys who are utility guys that can do it. That's a skill. That's like a trait that should be, cherished in the sport. Not everybody can do that. We talk about the DH being this thing. Like, not everyone can do it. It's very hard. Go try playing the outfield after being an infielder your whole life. Like, it's like people think you can just throw guys out there and they're going to be like Alex Gordon. Not the case, dude. He was a freak. So, yeah, I mean, Jose Altuve, Jose Iglesias, Sosa, like, these guys are infielders. I don't know.
I guess the Iglesias thing, I mean, that was an emergency.
That was an emergency.
So that you waved that up. But didn't you tell me that you were terrified being out there?
It's so different, dude. Especially there. They're playing at a minor league ballpark where the lights are much lower. That's why we saw Mike Trout zoo that ball in Tampa. Like, lights are so much lower. The ball can go over those lights. I don't care like how quality the lights are. They're just too low. But yeah, it's a scary feeling, man, because you're just not used to it. Like, yeah, can you catch a fly ball? Sure, 100%. But that's not everything. Like, communicating between outfielders is very, very difficult. We saw that in the Phillies game. You don't want to hurt somebody. You don't want to run into somebody. There's just so many things that go into it.
Yeah. In the meantime, a guy like Tatis moves off a shortstop, and didn't he win the Platinum Glove?
There are freaks out there.
Yeah.
But this is not like everybody can do it type situation.
Yeah, let's stop doing that. Or make it more fun. Keep doing it. Actually, you know what? Let's institute a rule where every team once a week has to put a player out of position. So if
it's
a guy's
already happening, Chris. Every team is doing it right now.
You know what? We should make somebody catch that has never caught before. Were you ever an emergency catcher?
No, I caught bullpens. In the minor leagues, I would warm up. Like, on an off day, I'd warm up guys because you don't really have bullpen catchers necessarily. And then for some reason, the Twins were, when I was playing early on, didn't have 2 bullpen catchers. There's only 1. And we were trying to go double barrel. So during a game in Detroit, it's a true story. During a game in Detroit, in between innings, I ran out there in Joe Mauer's catcher's gear, which was way too big for me. I ran from the first base dugout all the way into left center field where the bullpens are, and I warmed Pat Neshek up. And then I sat out there, and then I had to come in the game. I had to run back across the field to enter the game. At that point, I was such a scrub. I was like, I'll do whatever it takes, coach. Sign me up. Later in my career, I would have said a big old like, F you. No way.
Wait, so when you get out there and you crouch down, did Neshek know it was you?
He did. And, if you don't know who Pat Neshek is, he's was one of the original submarine side freaking freaks out there, sidearm freaks. And so, yeah, I'm getting my thumb blown up. It was not a good situation for me.
Was he laughing at you?
Everybody was. First of all, I'm a big fan of the bullpen. I would love to be in there and just those guys for the first 5 innings, they're just hanging there eating seeds and gum and just chilling every night. I don't know, man.
That's great. That's some funny stuff. Let us know, scale of 1 to 10, how panicked should the Padres fans be based on this? They're off to a tremendous start. They still have first place in the division. They're doing fine. But this was the one thing we worried about, was that if something goes wrong injury-wise, and once again, it sounds like those guys are day-to-day, but it's probably too early to know if that's factually accurate.
They found the depth in the starting pitching. Pivetta and Vasquez have been great.
They have been great.
Cease got crushed yesterday.
He has those occasionally. He does have those.
Yeah.
Where
everything was just right in the middle of the plate, and they were swinging at everything.
Yeah,
he threw
get a little weird. Oh, one last thing about the Padres before we moved on. I want to apologize to Don Orsillo, because remember we played the Tatis home run the other day, and he said he hits it to Sacramento. And we're like, wait a second, aren't they in Sacramento? Did he think they were in Oakland and it went so far he thought it was going to Sacramento? Well, our good buddy Jerry Blevins texted me yesterday because he listens to the show, and he goes, West Sacramento, where they play, is over the bridge from Sacramento. So that's why. So, Don, I apologize. He's still one of the best out there. That's my screw up because I don't know my Sacramento geography. And Jerry Blevins, thank you for being a listener.
I love Jerry.
While Jerry, you're there, give us a little thumbs up.
Handsome young man.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Such a good guy. I wish Jerry Blevins would do games in a booth. He is.
He should.
I tell him this all the time. He's wonderful.
He's my Roman nose brother. Let's go, baby.
Oh.
Yeah.
You have nice noses. Nice noses.
We got bumps. There are bumps on it right here.
Well, turn profile again. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's a Roman nose, Chris. I got made fun of it when I was young, and now I've just embraced it.
Okay. Embrace the Roman nose. And embrace this. That today's episode is sponsored by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Life's a trip, so why not make the most of it? With over 4,000 hotels worldwide, Best Western is there for every detour, destination, and unexpected turn along the way. Whether you're hitting the road, traveling for work, or chasing the next big game, there's a room waiting for you. But a great stay isn't just about rest. It's about what comes next. Because travel, we can tell you, it isn't always predictable, but that's what makes it great. Best Western is there for every wrong turn that leads to the right story, every unplanned turn that becomes a highlight, every moment that makes a lasting memory. So stay out a little later, take the scenic route, make the most of the ride. Ready to get going on your next adventure? It's waiting for you at Best Western. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at bestwestern.com. All right. I don't get to wear this Washington Nationals batting practice lid very often, but boy, am I happy I get to do it. That's because somebody chopping wood against the champs.
Go with your eyes up. Great job by him. James Wood extends, and look at this baby fly. See you later. Unbelievable power show by James Wood in this series. Light show, Bob. Light show. 8-0 Nats.
For people who are audio only, when a Nats player hits a home run, they flash the red lights as he's circling the bases. The guy goes, light show, Bob, light show.
There's nothing. Dude, these lights are killer all around the stadiums nowadays, man. I think they're so
funny.
cool.
So Wood had a huge night, 5 ribs, 3 homers in 2 games against the defending World Series champs. I know it has been fewer than 100 games for Mr. Wood, and he's only 22. And maybe I'm over-exaggerating, but does he feel like the next big thing in DC?
So, I mean, next big thing, yeah, he's a big boy.
6'7".
No doubt about that. I like his swing profile. I think it translates into like being a good hitter in the big leagues and, possibly a great hitter in the big leagues. He's a guy that uses what I'll call like the big part of the field a lot. He's staying up the middle. He can, drive the ball to the opposite field with power. And those are things that typically come a little bit later on in your career. Like, guys pull the ball a lot early on and then try to get back to that staying inside, using a big part of the field later on in their careers as they get to the big leagues and pitching becomes more difficult. That's kind of the path that you have to have. He, every swing I see him take, like he's just really staying through the ball. Like he finishes through the ball. It's almost like he doesn't even finish his swing. He just like stays through as far as his arms can extend and then the swing stops. I think that is, that's going to keep him at, I guess I'll call it like a high floor, his ability to do that, Chris. Like he's not a guy that turns off the ball a ton, that can get exposed all over the place. He will get exposed every now and then because of his height. There's kind of like a lot of room to cover. But because he has that stroke where he stays through the ball so well, to me, that's what I look for in hitters. And he seems like a guy that if he continues with that, like I said, like the ceiling we know is there because of the, tools that he has, but the floor is what makes a guy stick around and put those numbers up, avoiding long slumps, being able to get out of them quicker. With his bat path, he should be able to do that.
That's what his manager, Dave Martinez, was talking about last night, is his ability to use the middle part of the field for a kid who hasn't even played 100 games, who just turned 22. He said that's pretty exceptional. It's just you don't see that. Guys being able to stay on the baseball. And I think he's going to hit a ton of home runs to left center field. It just feels like it. And they're going to be the sort of shots that we see out of like Shohei. We've talked about it countless times on this show that he hits it where right-handed pull dudes do. He also can run. He's got to get better in the caught stealing department. Too many of the, like a 67% successful rate is not good enough, but the guy can run. I was watching him run the other night, and it felt like it took him 4 steps to get from one base to the other. Like, those are just freaks. So I am on the James Wood train.
So Nationals fans will let us know because I talked about CJ Abrams, like the numbers not lining up with what I saw, and they let me know, like, no, actually he misses a lot of routine plays, and that's why his defensive numbers are like that. What's up with James Wood? Because he rates out, pretty poorly in the outfield right now, and with a guy that has that wingspan and that speed, maybe he shouldn't. So I'm curious, is it a route thing? Is it a decision-making thing? Is it a positioning thing? If you're a Nats fan, let us know.
And let's think about what they got in that trade for Juan Soto. They got Mackenzie Gore, who certainly looks like he's elevating his game.
Yeah,
CJ Abrams and James Wood. And Robert Hassel was supposed to be kind of a big deal too as a former top 10 pick, and he just obviously hasn't made it. But that's a pretty good return for when you know that Juan Soto wasn't going to return to your team.
Yes.
So I'm all in. I think that he's really good. And by the way, he had 4 consecutive at-bats against the Dodgers dating back to Monday where it went home run, bases loaded walk, home run, I believe. And it was all against left-handed pitching.
Yes. I was about to say that against the lefties. Yeah.
That's pretty
That's
good.
where the ability to stay through the ball. So he hits right around, I think it's the numbers this year are at 68% of balls hit are either oppo or to center. That I don't know what his career numbers. I don't have him up against lefties, but if you have that ability as a left-hander, that should give you an advantage and allow you to at least have a chance against same side pitching.
And I think his on-base percentage is like 354. Young player having a on base over 350 this early in your career. Yeah, my book. All right, the Mets, they continue to roll. They put up double digits in their win over the Marlins. It was actually a 1-run game in the 6th. Base open. They put Juan Soto on. That means you got to face Pete Alonso.
As It's lined toward the gap in left center field, and that's going to clear the bases. Acuna scores. Sanger scores. Here comes Soto. He will score. Alonso foils the strategy.
Whenever they don't want to pitch me, I know I have a guy behind me that they can make it even worse for them. So I'm really happy for that.
What are you shaking your head about?
It's a thick neck. I just never noticed that. It's a thick boy, huh?
Yeah, he's put together.
That's Juan Soto I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's put together. So I suppose my big question here is that he re-signed with the Mets for 2 years, but he can opt out after this year, and a lot of people expect him to do that. How much money do you think Juan Soto hitting in front of him can earn Pete Alonso?
I think quite a bit. That's the Juan Soto effect. Is it's not just bringing his stats into the team. He does in a bunch of different ways make the team better. Lindor, I believe, is second in the league in hits right now because look, they don't want people on base in front of Soto, so they're going to throw more strikes to him. So the swing decisions are a little bit easier. So Lindor is going to benefit from it. Soto's just Soto. He's going to do his thing. And then a guy like Pete Alonso, because Lindor is getting more hits, he's going to be on base. Soto obviously has an on-base percentage over 400 for his career. He's going to be on base. And Alonso can thrive in those situations. So the counting stats are going to be there. I think I have him. One of my bets on our show before the season was over 100 RBIs for Pete Alonso. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. He's a guy that does that anyway, and now we're going to get these guys on base in front of him. So far it's worked out. But yeah, I think in all facets of the game, being on deck, watching Juan Soto work at bats is going to benefit Pete in the long run. Being at the plate, having Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor on base in front of you and the pitcher being in a pressure situation is going to work out in Pete's favor. So monetarily, I don't know how much money he's going to make, Pete, but Pete's counting stats, if he stays healthy, I would say they might reach new heights this year.
New heights?
What's his highest? I know he had a big RBI total 1 year. I got to get it up. But 130 runs driven in is not out of the question.
Yeah, well, he's hit 15 through 11 games. 131 in 2022.
He's going to beat it. If he stays healthy, he beats that. Which is crazy. 130 RBIs is nuts.
Doesn't it make sense, now that Vlad is out of the free agent business, for the Mets to just go to Alonso's reps and say, let's get this done. Let's tack on an extra 3 years. We'll call it a day. You don't have to go through what you went through in the offseason, which was not comfortable. We don't have to answer any questions. He plays every freaking day. He's not a perfect ball player, but he's had 2 4-win WAR seasons. He's a 3 to 4 win player probably out the duration of that contract.
You don't have to be the perfect ball player. You have to be right for your team. It's a team. And he fits the Mets so well. Yes, I agree. They need to lock him up. He needs to be, I don't know if the Mets do a ring Hall of Fame. He needs to be in the Mets Hall of Fame. This guy can absolutely be that. He can be one of the pillars of your franchise. You got Juan Soto, put Pete right behind him. It's great protection for your prized investment. It just makes sense, dude. Lindor signed through 2031, I believe it is. Soto through the year 3000, and then lock Pete up, and you got a 1, 2, 3 for the foreseeable future that can be as fearsome as any in baseball. So it's a no-brainer to me.
So Pete's making 30 this year, and it's a $24 million option, next player option, and so he would say no to that. Do you think that a 3-year, $90 million extension would get it done, where it starts after this season?
I don't know. Off the top of my head, no. I think he might want a little bit longer than that.
How about 4 for $115?
It depends when that comes. So if they do that during this, season, I think he says yes to that because he doesn't he just had a very like I say, a horrible offseason. He's making $30 million this year. But like relative to what he expected, it was not great for him. I don't think he wants to go through that again. So yeah, he would accept that.
Yeah. He's said all the right things. I'm happy to be back here. It's not a big
I love
deal. It's
Pete
fine.
Alonso.
Yeah, he's handled
He's
himself.
grown on me so much over the years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to think like the home run derby Pete Alonso was like silly. And like I was like, what's going on with this guy? But now I just like I really appreciate it. Like
You know what?
I would love to be Pete Alonso in the home run derby. That would be so fun.
We
like
talked
a
about
mercenary home run derby champ. How cool is that?
Yeah, and you add an extra $1 million.
Maybe I was just jealous the entire time. Probably.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, I can admit that.
Okay, Mets fans, I want to hear from you. Let's go. What do you think would get a deal done with Alonso that works for both sides? If they were to say, "Hey, new deal that starts after this season," I want to hear
Where's the graphic, Dan? Put it up there.
Yeah, there you go. Good work. That's nice. Perfect.
Okay,
See, Dan? Nice. Dan, you should negotiate a new contract after that performance. Excellent. Today's episode, sponsored by MLB 9 Innings, a Major League Baseball game you can play in the palm of your hands. MLB 9 Innings has a wide variety of game modes, from league mode, where users can play through a season, to live player v. player. 9 Innings has over 2,000 player cards to collect and use on your dream roster. MLB 9 Innings has the most up-to-date rosters, team logos, ballparks, and uniforms. 9 Innings has also added new historic players to the game like Joe DiMaggio, Kirby Puckett, Satchel Paige, Derek Jeter, and one of the newer Hall of Famers, Adrian Beltre. You may have already seen it, but MLB 9 Innings has released an incredible trailer this year as well. Trout's in it, Griff Jr., Greg Maddux. Check out the trailer on MLB 9 Innings official YouTube channel as well. So download and play MLB 9 Innings 25 today. Click the link in the description. Off you go. All right. A bunch of interesting things happening around the game and around the world of baseball. So let's get our quick thoughts on some of this stuff. Starting with the Giants' new uniforms. What do we think of those?
I like the cloud ones. The fog ones, I guess they were. I like those much better than these. These are... I don't know. Maybe Lee is doing a lot more, like a little extra with all like the colors and stuff. But like that seems like what they want. Gosh, Willie makes everything look good. Darn it! I don't love him, Chris. I like the other ones much better.
I will say this: I'm in on the hat. I even like the texture of the black jersey. The font looks like an iron-on decal that they were just finishing in the clubhouse with the iron right before the guys went on the field.
God, are they growing on me already? Like, did Willie Adames just change my mind by wearing it? Like,
He does.
Like, he looks way better than Lee.
I
like purple, so that's my thing. Is like it's one of my favorite colors. Purple and orange, I really haven't put together. It's kind of Halloweenish, which I guess works for the Giants because that is their colors. Gosh, maybe I'll retract my statement. I don't love them. I still like the fog ones better, but
I'm having a hard time.
Kind of changed my mind.
I'm having a hard time with the decal. And your point about Willie Adames, some guys just wear uni great. Congrats to Kenley Jansen becoming the 4th member of the 450 save club. It was a little rickety, but got it done, which is awesome. Where does he rank among the best closers of the last, let's say, quarter century or so?
I mean, do we include like Rivera in that?
Yeah, I think Rivera and Hoffman are their own category because they had so many frickin' saves. So let's talk about like the next line of guys. Is he at the top of the list? Is he behind a guy like Craig Kimbrell?
Yeah, I think those are the two guys you think of, and I feel like people don't necessarily give Kenley Jansen that credit enough. So I'm glad that you did bring him up, and understanding what that number means in the save world. So yeah, I'd put him 1A, 1B with Kimbrell, and he has all the accolades you could ever have, rings and All-Star games, and obviously the counting stats as well. So yeah, shout out Kenley, man.
Okay, you have both of them available. You can only give the ball to one to close out. Prime
Kimbrell.
Playoff game in the 9th. Really?
Kimbrell. I think so. I don't know. I don't even really have a good reason for that. I'm just thinking about myself in the box. I faced both of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Kimbrel's stuff is more strikeout oriented, at least for me, and I'd want a strikeout guy.
I know it feels like that, but Kenley,
I know he does too.
that's the thing.
So let me get that up. In my experience again, so Kimbrel's 14.1 Ks per 9.
Which is an insane number, by the way.
And what's Kenley?
I think Kenley's in the 12s, maybe. Does that sound right?
See, again, I don't give him enough credit for being a strikeout guy. He's 12.6.
Yeah.
Which is higher than I, in my mind, envisioned. I did get a knock off Kenley, so maybe that's where I go. Hit a double down the line against him, at least in one of my at-bats. But yeah, I would still go Kimbrel.
I think that's where most people would go.
It feels more dominant because Kenley, he kind of put some people on base.
By the way, good for Kenley that he continues to get it done, man.
I don't know why I say that too. Why in my mind do I say Kenley puts people on base? He's got a .9 career whip. I don't know what I'm talking about.
It just feels like I don't think
hasn't that been like the MO with him? Like, yeah, he gets into trouble and gets out of it.
Gets himself out of it, but it's apparently not. .9 is
he's
elite.
got a lower whip than Craig Kimbrel.
Yeah. And Kimbrel hadn't had a 40 save season or even a 30 save season, it felt like, in a while.
Well, I'm going to go back and just some of these last years of Kimbrel will just not go into that.
Yeah, they kind of limp to the finish.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think they both make the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Do, huh? God, it took Billy Wagner forever, man.
But I think the times are changing. We're valuing relievers more than ever now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. In that game between the Rays and the Angels, Christopher Morel's going back to the fence. I think it was Soler that hit it. They said it was a home run, that the guy reaches over, and we're like, well, that's not just a guy. That's noted baseball stealer Zack Hample. How big a deal is it that he got in the middle of this?
I don't have like the Zack Hample hate that a lot of people online do. I think a lot of fans would be in this position too. Like if they were just stationed there with the glove, like that's not something crazy. I mean, it happens quite often in baseball games, for being honest. So I don't know where the Zack Hample hate comes from. So I don't think it's that big of a deal.
You were pissed when he stole your baseball.
I know.
Colorado
maybe I just have respect for him because I went up for that ball and out of nowhere the yellow shirt came and just stole it from me. I mean, I was right there, Chris.
I know. You came back to our seat pissed. You were like, dude, I had one and Hample stole it from me.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I just have this freaking respect for the guy, and maybe I should. I don't know. I just don't have the same hate that this guy seems to get all the time.
There was a lot of vitriol.
Doesn't he give the balls away?
I don't know.
He doesn't keep them.
I don't pay enough attention to.
I don't really either. So tell me if I'm wrong, but
yeah. Well, he's created quite a successful business for it. Cody Bellinger missed Tuesday's game for the Yankees against Tarek Skubal, food poisoning, and then later in the day, he got chicken. He had bad chicken wings, apparently. Then he later taunted everybody by saying, "Hey, I'm going in for seconds. Return. I'm going back to the scene of the crime." And apparently, he really didn't do it. Would you have had more respect if he had tried to double up on the chicken wings, or more respect because he's trying to pull one over on us?
So I don't think that was real. Okay, I believe that was a fake account putting that out there. I've already blocked them. The tweet that you sent is from a fake parody account of Talking Baseball.
Oh, great.
So you didn't catch that. A lot of people didn't catch that. And like I blocked this account already because I don't know who they are and I don't want to be involved in it whatsoever. So
we've all been duped. We've all been duped.
You've all been duped.
Be careful of fake accounts.
Because that account also put something about Eric Hosmer, and I'm like, dude, what is going on? At first I thought it was the Talking Baseball account. It wasn't. It's a parody account of our thing. So if you can, block it and just don't deal with it.
Sorry. We've been hacked.
You got duped.
I got duped.
I think you, Joe's, and Jake got duped, and that doesn't surprise me. Just three meatheads.
3 knuckleheads. Love it. We are back at it again. Our episode on Thursday will be out early, bright and early for you, for all you that like to consume the content a little early. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our wayward intern, Sawyer, that is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Thursday here on Baseball Today.